With regard to the clinical trial setting at the present time in the myeloproliferative neoplasms, here in Brighton at the British Society meeting, we haven't presented any new trial data, but there is still a lot of activity ongoing at the present time. Dividing that up and thinking about the specific disease entities. In the setting of ET, we're still awaiting further data from the MPD-RC 112 study comparing interferon to hydroxyurea. We had preliminary results as a planned interim analysis showing surprising data with regard to molecular results and bone marrow remissions in patients treated with hydroxyurea. We should expect to see more data from that study later in the year. I think it's very reassuring for patients about equivalence of these drugs. In the UK, we've had a very, very long running study. It's 20 years this year since we started the PT1 trial. We've been looking at and presented some data with regard to how different molecular subgroups, JAK2, CALR and MPL mutated patients respond to the different therapies, particularly hydroxyurea and anagrelide, and we might be discussing how that fits into how we manage these patients going forward. We hope to have the data ready to present at the ASH meeting for patients less than 60 with low vascular risk, 2 groups. Is the use of hydroxyurea justified in people aged between 40 and 60? And what happens to the patient's age under 40? So we're busily analysing that data and really hope to be able to present it at ASH. In the meantime, the MAJIC study, we're just preparing the final data for MAJIC ET, again showing equivalence of ruxolitinib for controlling blood counts and preventing vascular bleeding and transformation events, but a more marked benefit for symptoms for these patients. In the setting of PV, really very similar. We should see probably more data from response 2, so that was ruxolitinib, second line for patients without splenomegaly. We expect more information probably on molecular responses in the ROPEG interferon 2B, PROUD PV study, and the data again from MPD-RC 112. In the myelofibrosis arena, we saw the results of the second phase 3 with pacritinib, which is no longer on a clinical hold, showing very important data for patients with really low blood counts. These patients are very, very difficult to manage, and we'll probably see some more data and longer follow-up maybe from those patients. The Gilead studies with momelotinib, Simplify 1 and 2, that data I expect will be presented at ASCO and at EHA and will be of great interest for this very difficult area of anemia and JAK inhibitors. Some nice data on real-world use of ruxolitinib and some ongoing work with regard to ruxolitinib in combination, either with different agents or in combination with modalities such as, for example, transplantation. I was in Paris this week and heard that they finally fully recruited the JAK ALLO study, which is a very important study telling us about the use of ruxolitinib before transplant. Also interesting for me was the data with sotatercept, which with regard to management of anemia, and probably some data to come with luspatercept for patients with anemia and these conditions.